Breaking news to start the show. The president announcing an agreed upon ceasefire between Iran and Israel just a little bit ago. This will begin at midnight, we are told, as it appears Israel is wrapping up its final missions inside of Iran. There's the Truth Social from not too long ago. The many critics of this weekend's mission, thanks to that message and other indicators, are again being proven wrong right before our very eyes. The weekend airstrikes on nuclear facilities in Iran have exposed just how incredibly weak this boisterous regime truly is, and now we have a ceasefire on top of that. In the early morning hours of Sunday, Iran's nuclear program was pummeled. Our military dropping 12 bunker buster bombs on the underground Fordo nuclear site alone. That's 12 30,000-pound bombs. Our military trying to blow a hole to the center of the earth. 2 more bunker busters and also several Tomahawks were used at 2 other sites. The mission was a total surprise. Most of us found out about it maybe around 6 o'clock on Saturday night, just before dinner. Nothing was known publicly about this until all of our assets had left Iranian airspace. The administration very glad to hear that and glad to see that. They kept it tight. Last Thursday, Trump said he'd make a decision on engaging with Iran within 2 weeks. In reality, we now know his mind was about made up. Iran was clearly stalling, clearly doing the same nonsense they always do, the same things that rope-a-dope and fooled so many administrations in the past. Biden, Obama. Not even 2 days after Trump said he'd give maybe 2 weeks, Trump left Bedminster after a Saturday morning round of golf, came back to D.C., which was a real big indicator for people very close to him, and watched from the White House as stealth bombers and Tomahawk missiles neutered the world's most evil regime. The vice president explaining why this move was made.
If they leave American troops out of it and they decide to give up their nuclear weapons program once and for all, then I think the president has been very clear. We can have a good relationship with the Iranians. We can have a peaceful situation in that region of the world. We have to step back a little bit, Kristen, and remind ourselves that we negotiated aggressively with the Iranians to try to find a peaceful settlement to this conflict. It was only when the president decided that the Iranians were not negotiating in good faith that he took this action. He didn't take it lightly, but I actually think it provides an opportunity to reset this relationship, reset these negotiations.
So there you go. Iran has killed more than 1,000 Americans through proxy terrorism. That's what they spend a lot of their money on. They just try to kill us, much of which has been funded with your own tax dollars, thanks to people like Barack Obama and the brilliance of their negotiating tactics. Let's pay you guys so you don't nuke the world. You can bomb the world and we'll pay for it, just don't nuke it. That's how we've dealt with this pitiful regime that you're now seeing exposed, really for the first time in quite some time. That's how bad the people that run this country are at their jobs, typically. It is unquestionable that these strikes were earned, were well-deserved. Iran's Islamic regime has earned much worse than they got today. They all should die. But the reason there was so much fear from Trump's critics was retaliation and the chances that this was going to open up a wider war. That retaliation came today, and we got to see just how small and insignificant Iran truly is. Trump called the bluff. They were right. The regime notifying Qatar in advance before what you see here on the screen, launching very meager strikes on our military base near Doha, which Trump actually visited not too long ago, almost entirely blocked by U.S. missile defense. It was so embarrassing today that the president actually thanked Iran for responding the way that they did. Thanked them for the heads up. The regime attempting to save face by doing some kind of response, but clearly they are desperate for this onslaught to end. They love to be able to sit over there in their country and scream death to America. They sure as hell don't really want to fight. They just want to scream it and keep a hold of power and try to build a nuclear bomb. Fully exposed. A yappy small dog with no bite whatsoever, at least no bite right now. Trump's critics may wish they could take some of their words back after seeing what we have seen today. Here was Thomas Massie earlier today.
3 bombings to neutralize Iran may turn out to be the 2025 version of 2 weeks to slow the spread. This could turn into a protracted, prolonged engagement, and I'm here to represent the base of the MAGA party that got Trump elected.
Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like one of Trump's biggest supporters, and she's gone the same way. She's with Tucker and Bannon and everybody else, saying, I spent millions of my own money and traveled the entire country campaigning for President Trump and his MAGA agenda and his promises. No more foreign wars, no more regime change, world peace. And this is what the people voted for. Only 6 months in, and we are back into foreign wars, regime change, and World War III. Well, Iran has no allies right now, and we've seen what their version of World War III is just in the last few hours. That's not what this is. We have a peace deal now. As stated, this wasn't starting a war. This was ending a war before one actually got started, and before our nemesis was able to actually arm themselves with something usable, something devastating. This is how you keep peace. It's not that hard to figure out, and pretty clear that the president was dead right about this. His critics were dead wrong. Vice President said the same yesterday.
We have no interest in a protracted conflict. We have no interest in boots on the ground. The president has actually been one of the fiercest critics of 25 years of failed foreign policy in the Middle East, which is why he did what he did. A very precise, a very surgical strike tailored to an American national interest. And that national interest is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It would be a disaster for us and for our allies in the region. So I don't fear that this is going to become a protracted conflict, because I think that we have a president who knows what's in America's interest and is willing to do the things necessary to accomplish that interest.
There you have it. Our Mike Carter actually joins us from the White House with a little more on the breaking news. We have a peace agreement. At midnight it begins, right, Mike?
That's right, Rob. 6 hours from now, President Trump announcing on Truth Social last hour a complete and total ceasefire between Iran and Israel. The president announcing that last hour, saying both sides have agreed. And what a day it has been. What a week it has been when it comes to this conflict. It has been drinking out of a fire hose here at the White House. Breaking news happening left and right. We were traveling with the president this past weekend, arriving back here to Washington Saturday night when word came down from the administration that President Trump would be meeting with his national security team Saturday night. And of course, we all saw what transpired afterward. The United States attacking Iran, and of course, Iran today firing back at Al Udeid Air Force Base, the largest Air Force base in the Middle East, up to 10,000 troops, dozens of airplanes. Apparently, the Trump administration, the United States, DOD, got word that this would be happening, and a lot of those folks and planes had been moved out. But right now, the president may end up speaking later this evening, but this is a complete and total ceasefire, and this puts to rest a lot of the concerns from the MAGA base that President Trump would maybe mire himself in another forever war that we saw in Iraq and Afghanistan. Maybe this puts to bed some of those concerns. Right now, the president very excited about the prospect of turning around this war here. Well, a 48-hour war that the Trump administration says isn't a war, and a precision strike. And the word, I'll leave you with this, Rob, the word that's been used the last 48 hours here at the White House is surgical. These were surgical strikes. Now it looks like it's come to an end.
48 hour. He's gone on a 12-day war potentially. Mike Carter from the White House, thanks so much. Good to see you. You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.